The constant stream of AI news and tips makes us all feel like we're behind. OpenAI codecs, agents, GitHub repos. Sometimes I wonder if this is on purpose. When people get scared, they're desperate for help, and they'll pay a lot to feel better. There's a lot you can know, but it actually doesn't take much to be ahead of almost everyone. By the end of this video, you'll be able to use the standard chat interface to get far better results than everyone else. Hardly anyone knows what I'll show you, but these things are easy and quick to do. Let's get started. AI is a powerful technology, and most people use it like a magic box. With a little skill, you can get way more out of it. Now, the vast majority of people are either not using AI daily, and when they use it, they're just using short, generic, one-sentence queries. It's estimated that only about 1 to 2% of active users are using complex, structured prompts. Now, it's okay to use simple queries. I do that myself, but this video is about those more complex ones. It will open the door to more powerful capabilities for you that you can execute in less time. And I will show you the dangers of directly importing documents to AI, helping AI understand what you're trying to say so that it's going to do a better job of doing what you want, and helping you understand what AI is actually telling you. And at the end of this, you will definitely be in the top 1% of users. So let me show you the first power-up. Instead of endless videos showing you the latest AI product, there ought to be more that show you how to do basic things much better. And importing documents into the chat is one. Now here, I think we've all done this at one point. We've pulled in a PDF and we've asked it for, can you summarize it? Now, I don't think any of us have taken the second step where we then verify that summary and that it is a good summary of that 25, 30 page PDF, because the whole reason we're asking it to do the summaries because we don't want to read the thing. But we know that AI hallucinates, so how do we know that the summary is actually a good summary? And come to think about it, what is the AI actually processing? Because that PDF not only has the text and the graphics, but it has font information. It tells it where line breaks should be and so forth. None of that is important for understanding. It has nothing to do with knowledge. So I want to show you a little bit more about what a PDF actually is. So let's open up that document that I just pulled into Claude. It is an academic research paper against frictionless AI. But what is the AI actually seeing? Well, let me show you that. And here it is. And you can see it looks not very similar to what we just saw. All this stuff is formatting stuff. And this is stuff that the AI actually has to chew through. And none of that formatting information is useful to the AI for understanding what's going on. It's all formatting stuff. Now, this can cause a number of problems. As you can see, there's a lot of junk in there, right? And the AI has to actually extract the really useful words from that, and it can make mistakes. So there's data extraction errors. These can lead to hallucinations. And again, these are invisible hallucinations because none of us are actually reading those long PDFs to verify that what the AI is outputting is correct. For those of you who are paying per token for your usage, well, all of that formatting stuff, those are all requiring tokens to actually process. So 80% of the tokens you're spending on this stuff is on crap that's not doing any good and possibly doing some harm. Like, for example, the LLM has to actually, the AI actually has to pull out what the big picture is from all of that mess. The actual content is kind of a needle in the haystack, right? So if the PDF format is the problem, what's the solution? Well, taking the information in that PDF and converting it into another file format, which is primarily signal and less noise. And fortunately, there is a web page that's ideal for that. And let me introduce you to file to markdown.ai. Let's pull in this academic paper. Here it is. Convert to Markdown. And voila, here it is, against frictionless AI. And all we really need to do now is copy the clipboard, go into this new chat. We were going to import a PDF. Now we just upload the markdown, and now the AI can process just the text, not all that formatting stuff as well. So I want to point out one more thing here. This web page is called File to Markdown, not PDF to Markdown. And if we go down here, we see that we can do the same trick with Word documents, PowerPoint documents, Excel, EPUB, etc., etc. So now we've stripped the non-words out of PDFs and other files, given the AI just what it needs, just the words that actually have meaning. Let's take a look at how you can make better use of those remaining words. Now, AIs are computers, and computers love structure. They thrive on it. It's how they understand things. So we're going to give it a little more structure, and that will help it perform even better. Now, the format we're going to use is very easy. It only adds a few more characters to the text, and it's called XML, and that stands for Extensible Markup Language. And basically, the key idea here is that we're going to write our prompt in blocks, and we're going to tell the AI what each block means so it knows how to use it. And rather than me try to explain that, I'm just going to show you an example. And you can see that here on the screen. For any particular block, you are going to tag it with a begin tag and an end tag. So you can see instructions. There's a line that says instructions in brackets. Then there are the instructions, and at the very end, there's another instructions in brackets, but there's also a slash indicating this is the end tag. So we start with instructions, we list those instructions, and then we end tag. And you can see formatting rules is the similar structure. So now the actual word you use for the tag is up to you, but choosing something like instructions or formatting rules is useful because you're doing this specifically to help the AI. Now, this is a very simple technique, but it's actually very powerful. And every AI company like Anthropic and OpenAI states that their models are tuned to respond better to XML formatted prompts. Now, clearly, this is not necessary for short, simple prompts, but for the complex ones that we're talking about here, that'll allow you to use AI better than 99% of people, putting those complex prompts in XML format will help the AI use them much better, and you'll get much better results. You may have noticed that the way AI writes is a little different from how most people talk, and that can make it harder to read. We're going to fix that. So, what are some of the reasons that AI text is hard to read? Well, it tends to write in large blocks of text, which isn't fun for anyone to read. A lot of times it will use jargon, and even worse, it won't actually explain what that jargon is. And sometimes some of the sentences are very long, they're very multi part. That's difficult as well. And look, none of these are deal breakers, but it just makes it a little bit harder to read. And if you're going to be working with AI a lot, you'd like things to be a little simpler. And fortunately, there is a way to get simple. And there is a format of writing instructions simply called ASD-STE100. And I have no idea what that name is, but it is a standardized system of writing that was created specifically to make complex instructions clear and easy to understand. And this works perfectly for what we want, taking complicated output and making it easy to read. And I'm going to show you just what a big difference it can make. So let's take a look at this, a query on if I want to know what the difference between a virus and a bacterium is. And let me blow this up a little bit. So on the right is what an AI would normally give you. On the left, we're going to tell it to use this ASD STE100 format. And you can see right away that the standard AI output is these large blocks of text. Whereas over here, the STE100 is very nice, very easy, a lot of white space, short sentences, bullet points. Something else that's different here is it says bacteria has a cell membrane and usually a cell wall, cytoplasm, ribosomes, its own DNA and chromosomes, and it doesn't tell me what cytoplasm or ribosomes are and whether that's really important or not, but you can see there's no such jargon here on the STE format. If we also take a closer look here, we see that it tells us at some point viruses are far smaller than bacteria, roughly 20 to 300 nanometers, so about a hundredth the size of a typical bacterium. Okay, yeah, smaller, but there's an easier way to say that, namely, bacteria are 100 times larger than a virus. So you can see here that just this simple example of what's the difference between a virus and a bacteria, using this particular standardization results in the same information but much easier to read. Now we've seen 3 ways to improve our prompting. Let's put them all together and see what we've accomplished. I have a former coworker who's from China. She's here in the States now, but she still subscribes to all the Chinese social media platforms. And she had an interesting idea. She said, Mark, yes, I know you're creating AI videos, videos about AI on YouTube. What about branching out and releasing a channel on one of the Chinese social media sites? So I don't know. I mean, maybe, maybe not, but that's extra work for me. So if I were to make that kind of an investment, make that kind of leap, I want to make sure to do some research that it makes sense. And so I want solid research. I want peer-reviewed analyses, not a white paper from McKinsey or, crap like that. And there is academic research on such things, but, academic research journals are not designed to be easy to read. So AI did help me found 3 papers that seemed useful. Of course, I didn't read them because they were long and dense, but this is ideal for what we've just covered here. So I fired up ChatGPT. And here's the prompt I use. And you can see that I specified it in XML. So the first thing is the instructions block. Analyze the provided market research documents on 3 of these platforms, evaluate demographics, algorithms, and monetization mechanisms, and output a strategic recommendation on which platform a content creator should prioritize for expansion. The next block is the formatting rules. I want it to use ASD STE 100. I want it to use short directive sentences, active voice, etc., etc. And down here, I provided it with those research documents. I did not pull in the PDFs. You can see here that I gave it the markdown files that were converted using that website. So I hit return, and here's its output. Starts right off. It worked for a mere 24 seconds. Starts right off. Here's the platform for you. And it explains a little bit more about it, uses this one, says it's a secondary concern, and it goes through and actually gives me the pros and cons of each one of these, which is interesting because, again, I didn't read the papers, but it gives me an overview of what is good for what. And then at the very end, again, it does repeat its recommendation of this particular platform if my main goal is to scale and have multiple income paths. So this is good. This is really good. I didn't have to read those technical materials. It gave the information to you in an easy to understand format, thanks to the ASD STE 100 standard. It gave me the recommendation I asked for right up front and at the end. It did give me the pros and cons comparison of each platform, so I didn't have to read papers and switch back and forth. And it did obey the directives to use active voice and no jargon. And it could have done a little bit better. Now that I see this, it makes a recommendation here for this particular platform. But if you read a little bit further, it says, choose this one instead when trust matters more than fast reach. Well, trust is important to me. There's nothing in here about which one of these platforms might be easier for non-Chinese speakers or for people who are not based in Asia. I'm in California. Which of these is best for content about AI? Wouldn't that dictate the demographic? It's nice that it has bullet points, but it's kind of a cumbersome way to compare each platform. So look, this is pretty good. I'm happy with it. It did everything I wanted, and I could see where we could go to the next level. And in the next video in this series, we're going to do exactly that. I'm going to extend and build on everything we just did. That's the next video. Is all this stuff necessary? No, not if you're not going to be happy with the simple standard prompting techniques, that's fine. But you clicked on this video because you want to use AI better than 99% of everyone. You wanted to be an AI Top Gun. This is what gets you there. So, look, don't feel behind because you don't have a team of agents running around. You are going to be using chat more powerfully than everyone else. And if you have any questions or comments or follow ups, put those in the comments below. I will respond to everyone. And definitely subscribe to the channel if you want to see the rest of the series. There's going to be at least 2 more videos. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you got some useful information here that nobody else is talking about. Implement these things. Use those longer structured prompts. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.